So what is the big picture when it comes to quality management? Well, quality is such a term that it really comes down to the eye of the beholder. What is quality? What does quality time mean to you? Is quality time spending time with your kids, your family, with your friends? Everybody's going to have a different answer to this, but it's in the eye of the beholder because everybody values quality differently. So we have 8 quality dimensions for products. And so we have performance. Does the product do what you want it to do? For example, you have a car. Does it get you from point A to point B? Yes or no? Or does it get up and go when you're entering the highway where you need to get up to speed? If it doesn't, you might think it doesn't have that performance. But if you're just driving around on city streets, you might not need that kind of performance. So what features? So features is the next quality dimension. Does a product possess the features you are looking for? So when you're looking at 2 different phones, well, why do you choose one phone over the other? If their shape and color are the same, and you're looking at the phones, why do you choose one over the other? Is it because one has more memory on it and you like to download videos and games and stuff? Or do you just care about connecting to the internet and you want the 5G versus the 4G? Does it possess the features you're looking for? Reliability. Does a product consistently perform as it's supposed to over time? I know when I pick up my phone, I want it to work every single time without fail. So that's for me. That's how I want my phone to be reliable. I want my car to be reliable, so every time I go to drive it, it drives and it gets me safely to my destination. What's reliable to you? Conformance. Does the product conform to product specifications? If it's supposed to be a black product or a white product or a pink product, does it actually come out at that color? Or is it coming out as gray because somebody is mixing white and black? Who knows? So it's a simple thing you can check for. Durability. How long will the product perform or last and under what conditions? So if you have an iPhone and you've dropped your iPhone, the screen is likely to have broken. Well, the screen is not durable in that case. Where if you bought an Android phone and dropped your phone, the screen may not have broken because the manufacturer might have chosen a different glass or a plastic for the screen. Or, for example, your car. How durable are the tires? Are they going to last for 50,000 miles or are they going to last for 10,000 miles? Who knows? Serviceability. Is a product relatively easy to maintain and repair? Well, for vehicles, this is becoming an issue. If your vehicle's from the 1970s, you can probably do all the maintenance you need to yourself. You can just buy one of those maintenance books and do it yourself. But if you have a car from today, there's computers, there's hybrids, so you got to watch out for those things. You need to take it in to a professional. Well, at what point does your quality dimension factor in there? Aesthetics. Does a product look, sound, taste, and or smell as it should? If you are trying to go out for dinner and you order something off the menu and it comes and it smells bad, are you going to want it? I certainly hope not. But that's part of the aesthetics. Is it pleasing to the eye? Is it pleasing to the palate? And perception. Does it have that perception of being a high quality product? So that's in the eye of the beholder. What is the individual determined to be high quality? Like, for example, a pen. If you have a heavy weighted pen, generally you feel that's a higher quality pen. Where if you just have a standard Bic pen, B-I-C pen, you might think, oh, this is a cheap pen that only costs 5 cents. Where if you held a Mont Blanc pen, okay, this pen costs $200 or $500. It's the high quality is a perception. So we've talked about products. Well, what about services? Well, they have 5 categories. So tangibles. How pleasing is the appearance of the physical facilities, equipment, personnel, and communication materials? So you have to remember, a service is an intangible thing. They can't actually put their hands on a service. So you have to do all these other things to give that appearance of quality. So for example, someone's coming to your house to install cable internet. Well, that technician that comes out there, you want them to have or be professionally dressed, or at least dressed well. Might be jeans and a polo shirt with the company logo stitched on the shirt. You don't want somebody showing up in a torn t-shirt and work boots that probably were from a construction site. Depends on how you see that. But reliable. How dependable can the service provider provide promised service? So if you're trying to get Comcast as your cable service provider for television, did they come during the time window they said they would? Or are they coming outside of that? Responsiveness. How willing, able, and prompt is a service provider to help you? When you call customer service, are they able to help you? Are they willing? Can they do it quickly? Do they understand what your problem is or why you're calling? So assurance. How knowledgeable, courteous are the service employees, and how well do they convey trust and confidence? When you call that customer service or you call the company or go into one of their locations, are the employees attentive? Do they seem knowledgeable? Do you trust them because of how confident they are? Or are they reading a script and you can tell they're reading a script? So empathy. How well does the customer service provider or the service provider provide caring, individualized attention to its customers? This one could be difficult if you're calling a call center, because the people are probably calling or reading from a script. So everybody's view on service, the quality of service, is different. I have a pretty high standard when I call customer service, and I let them know when I'm not happy. Other people might not be as forward as I am when it comes to that. So we need to achieve quality at the source. So we need to focus on 3 areas mainly: prevention, personal responsibility, and standardization. If we can prevent a quality problem at the beginning, well, we don't have it showing up later, and it's a lot cheaper to deal with. If people take personal responsibility, they'll also want to do a high quality job that they are responsible for, and that way they don't just start passing along defects. And then finally, standardization. If you have everybody doing their jobs in a standard way, well, they would know, oh, I missed this step, or I should be doing this step before I do this step. And that way they are doing everything in a set order before passing on the work to the next person. So we need to focus on these areas. But what is the cost of quality? So we have prevention costs. So this is the money that we spend to prevent the quality problems. Then we have appraisal costs. So these are making sure that we do not have the quality issues, or we're calibrating, we're adjusting things so we don't have those costs. So these are relatively cheap compared to actually our other costs. Then we have internal failure costs. So these are, we catch the failures before it gets to the customer. It's still going to cost us money, but we're catching it before it gets to the customer. So this might result in we're throwing out what was produced, we're scrapping it, we might send it back for rework to be fixed or something. And then we have external failure costs. The customer got the poor quality. So now we have warranty claims, we have bad reputation, we've lost problem. The customer is going to tell their friends that they received a bad product from our company. We don't want that. So we need to do everything we can to fix what's going on, whether that's a warranty repair, whether that's them returning it and sending out a new one, all these different things to try to fix this, because this is where it's going to be most expensive on the company. But if we can spend more money in prevention where we don't have these external failure costs, we'll be so much better off. But when we look at these, there is a point where it's not worth spending more money. So when we look at it, there is the intersection here of prevention and appraisal costs, and then we have failure, internal and external. So every dollar we spend on prevention and appraisal, we're going to have lower failure, both internal and external. But there is a point where it's just not economically feasible to be spending on prevention and appraisal, because it might be actually cheaper somewhere on this chart to deal with the internal and external failures because they happen so infrequently that it's just easier to, we'll just send them a new product and they'll send us back the old one, rather than spending more money in prevention and appraisal. Every company has their threshold. But usually it's where this intersection between prevention and appraisal and failure and internal and external, usually that intersection is where it's not worth spending more money. So these are, what we need to do to try to get our costs down. So our next video is going to be about total quality management. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next video.